When Adam and Eve first tasted the fruit of good and evil, when they first gained consciousness, they were separated from the garden, removed from their state of nature, disengaged with their most primitive and basic forms of self. What was the garden? For Jung, Campbell, and many thinkers, this is the dreaming unconscious, a state of primitive existence which we are most connected to our instincts and drives. And that is what we explore in this week's discussion of Joseph Campbell here on Circles Theory.
What it's gotta be this time. Yeah. Sun starts to set and the moon shall rise.
Our inner self is a complex being. It constitutes a multitude of symbols and ideas. Psychoanalytic thinkers and philosophers have discussed this for generations as they've tried to understand these different ideas. If you did not catch our last video on the myth, I suggest you take a look, as that sets up a lot of the ideas we're discussing today. But I want to specifically start with psychoanalytic thought. Freud, Jung, and the other psychoanalytic theorists started by exploring the modern hero and showing that these symbols and ideas exist to today, that we still have this heroic ancient form of the self, that we still engage with these symbols. In the absence of general mythology, when you're removed from the stories, when we are disengaged from those greater themes, we each have a primitive, unrecognized, rudimentary, yet secretly potent pantheon of dream. A realm in which we engage with both our darkest and most uplifting versions of ourselves. This is the realm of the unconscious. This is the primordial, basic center psyche of ourselves, as Freud referred to it as the id. It is from here that all kinds of vapors, odd beings, terrors and tremors, deluding images, mind-altering concepts, dreams and insanity boil up into the rest of the conscious mind. This is the kingdom of humanity. This is beneath the floor of the dwelling of our consciousness. This is underneath the thinking we have on day to day. This is the deeper version of ourselves. There are quite a few things down there. As Campbell points out, there are both jewels and there are jinn. There are dangerous concepts. There's the monsters that exist within ourselves. And we must overcome those to find the greatest magic that exists within ourselves. This is represented in the dream. The dream is the personalized myth, and the myth is the depersonalized dream, as dream becomes collective and shared amongst the community. Both myth and dream are symbolic in the same general way of the dynamics of the psyche. The dream forms are quirks. They are peculiar. They're troubles. They're challenges that connect us. And myth is the problems and solutions that we found. It's how we deal with our challenges. It's how we overcome them, not just for ourselves, but for all of the species. The passage of the mythical hero tends to be in stories over ground and forest and sea, but fundamentally it's inwards. It's into the depths. It's an entering the unknown. It is an entering the unconscious, where we receive and come to connect with forgotten powers and revive them, to be made available for transfiguration, to bring back to the rest of the world. Something that Rollo May talks quite a bit about, and we've discussed in some of our earlier videos. And if we're able to absorb that, if we're able to integrate these new forces and experiences, then we will experience an almost superhuman degree of self-consciousness, masterful control over the self. This is the principle behind yoga. This is something we commonly discuss. This is the dream. This is the realm beneath. It brings out our thirst, protective aspects, and concepts of ourselves that remain hidden. These are the guardians. And challenging the watchers of the threshold is a dangerous task. But by advancing beyond those and engaging with our unconscious, we are able to provoke and understand the destructive aspects of ourselves. We're able to gain passage into who we are and what we know beyond ourselves. We're able to dive deep into a new zone of experience. But as I said, sometimes there are guardians, nightmares, and monsters in the ethereal. So this is where we pick up next week as we begin our discussion specifically on the image of God. Thanks for watching this week's video on Joseph Campbell. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button, subscribe for future content, and if you learned something today, please let us know in the comments. We'd love to discuss it with you. We'll catch you next time at Circles Theory.